We had an opportunity in the early 2000s to create a new building, a building for our college. I've felt for many years that all of California, and especially our areas, is an indigenous place, and that we, as UCR, have a relationship and must keep that relationship with the local tribes. I wanted to see that UCR recognize this indigenous space by having a round room in the new college building. Our vision from the very beginning was that the round room would be a place of gathering and of education, that indigenous people would share with students who were indigenous and non-indigenous, anyone who was interested in learning and growing, and that it would be multi-purpose. It would not just be for classrooms and lectures, but it would be a place to dance, to gather, to eat together, to share ideas, to bring tribal elders from communities beyond the university and young people.
I would say that what people really need to know about the round room, first and foremost, is that, like so many things, with indigenous practice, it was a labor of generations and of many people. There are things that have happened there that are important. So the space has a memory as well, which I think is, again, a concept that we're all pretty aware of in the indigenous community. And then the other thing is just to recognize how kind of amazing it is. First of all, that it was created in that way, that it was created with the recognition of marking in the physical construction of the building, and I love where it is. It's sort of in the center of that building. It's right at the heart of it, right? And it's such a striking space, and it's a beloved space. I mean, people want to use it, which I like. I think it's really neat that people love it and recognize, oh wow, this is different. This feels markedly significant and special. And so I think we need to continue, and I hope we continue to make that the case there, and make it even more special, even more marked, even more differentiated, as a space that is welcoming and supportive of of indigenous and decolonial practice on campus.
And was supposed to be an indigenous space from the very beginning. Um, and then over the years, then different deans have decided how that room would be used. But initially, the idea was that this would be controlled by the California Center for Native Nations, and we, as a group here at UCR, we would decide how the room would be used.
This room, the Round Lab room, is used by a lot of the Native programming on campus, including Native American student programming, CCNN, California Center for Native Nations. And the Round Lab room, although it was first intended to be just a space that Native community kind of had access to, or at least were in control of scheduling, it has actually been taken to campus scheduling generally. So in order to gain access to the Round Lab room, you have to go through campus scheduling, which they decide who gets to use the space and when. And so it's a little bit of a convoluted process in that regard. Like, it takes some time to get access to it. And so it makes it a little challenging. It can't, like, your planning and programming for the use of this room can't just be spontaneous.
The really good news is that the relationship really transformed just in the last year or so, because we had real issues and challenges with access to it. We were competing with other organizations that wanted to use that space, which was really problematic because, of course, the space was conceived and even designed with the input of the American faculty on campus, to be a space where we could have and focus on our events.
It's one thing to say that you're indigenizing the university, but it's another thing to make it feel like an indigenous space. And I think that the biggest part of that is making people feel welcome in the space. So I think that really handing over the reins to the Native student programming entities on campus, like California Center for Native Nations and Native American Student Program Association, is, you know, a way to kind of make this more in the Native community's control.
The really critical element is that now, if we need it for an event that is focused, particularly the California Center for Native Nations, but of course we can facilitate for any of the Indigenous related groups that are connected with that, we can schedule it. You know, it's a round room. It's a, Tongva traditional cultural ceremonies, which we have one tomorrow, we do them in a circle, we do them in a round space, and those spaces become really critically important for us. And so I think it's really important for us to imbue that space with kind of our work, our labor, our care, and our interest in decolonial activities, Native American activities, Indigenous activities on campus. And that as we do so, both practically, but also, epistemologically or even spiritually, that space becomes more and more, ours, in a place where we are comfortable in a larger ecosystem where we often don't feel comfortable, or we often feel displaced, even if it's our own lands. And that's so important for our community. We know that, for Native American students and I think faculty and staff, we have most of the evidence for students that feeling a sense of belonging, feeling a sense of inclusion, feeling a sense of that this is a space that you're where you feel recognized and appreciated is so critical. And I think that goes a long way to that.